Hey YouTube, welcome to another episode of B&B Games. Today, don't have nothing open for you guys, but I'm gonna do a deck profile video for you guys. This deck profile is something that I actually just randomly threw together because I had a bunch of the cards. Really didn't have high hopes of it, but it actually became one of my favorite decks. And the deck today we're gonna be doing is Mechlords. Now, this deck, it actually plays kind of interesting. First, I'm going to go through the monsters, spells, random cards that got thrown in for support, and go over some combos with you guys. So, monsters that I got in this deck for the Meklord cards are, I got 2 Meklord Army Granos. Then I got 3 Necklord Army Skills, 3 Meklord Army Weisels, and 3 Meklord Army Deployer Obligato. Then I also got 3 Meklord Nucleus Infinity Cores, 2 Mecklord Emperor Weisels, 2 Mecklord Emperor Grano, Mecklord Emperor Weisels, Synchro Absorption, have 2 of those. Mechlord Astro, Mechanile? Something like that. Got 2 of those. And the big boss of this deck, got 3 of them. Mechlord Astro Dragon Triskelion. This seriously is like the boss of this deck. But first, go over Mechlord Army cards and what they do and why I got them in the deck. So, first Mechlord Army cards I'm going to go over are the ones that I got 2 of. That's Mecklord Army Grano. Now, this card only have 2 of them in here because this deck isn't as good as the others because his effect activates when he's normal summoned. But what he does is he halves the attack target of one monster your opponent controls. So it's a good way to have your opponent's monster, and he also gets a boost of 100 attack for any Mechlord monsters you have on the field. The next card we got is Mechlord Army Skill. I have 3 of these in the deck because they're a great search option. If this card is destroyed by battle, you can special summon up to 2 Mechlord Army card. No, special summon 1 Mechlord Army card, but he gets 200 attack for each Mechlord monster you control on the field, which is what all the original Mechlord Army cards do. The third one, Mechlord Army Weisel, got 3 of him in here because 1, he lets your Mechlord monsters do piercing damage, and he gets 100 attack boost for every Mechlord monster on the field. Then the best of the Mechlord Army cards, Mechlord Army Deployer Obligato. What this card does is you destroy him with his effect, and you get to search your deck for any Mechlord Army cards other than him, and special summon 2 of those cards. And at the end of your turn, during the end phase, your opponent takes 100 damage for each Mechlord monster you control. So you get 2 monsters, and you get to cause burn damage to your opponent. Now the next cards we're going to talk about are actually another crutch of this deck, and that's Mechlord Nucleus Infinity Core. What this card does is when it's summoned, it lets you add either a Mechlord spell or trap from your deck to your hand. And it's not destroyed by battle, the initial battle. You need to attack it twice. So it's like a Dark Resonator. And also, if you destroy this card, you get to special summon a Mechlord Emperor monster to your side of the field that has a opposite attribute of any Mechlord cards you control. So he's a good way to search out and get a spell, and you can get a Mechlord Emperor monster on the field easily with one card. Next, I'm gonna talk about Mickeler and Prograno. What this card does is pretty much he gains half your attack points. Your life points at attack. So if you can get him out of the start of the duel, you got an easy monster with 4,000 attack. That's going to be hard for your opponent to overcome. But he also can equip synchro monsters and gain that monster's attack to his attack also. So he just becomes a giant beat stick that your opponent has to figure out a way to get through. Mechlord Emperor Weisel. This card is actually pretty cool. He might not have the highest attack, but he can equip synchro monsters just like Grano, but he also has the added effect of pretty much being a magic jammer. He could negate magic cards once per turn during your turn, or anytime a magic card is activated. So, great card to have in the deck, just to stop your opponent from playing magic cards. The next Meklord Emperor I'm going to talk about is Weisel's Synchro Absorption. Now this card is actually interesting because you can't summon it during your turn. You have to summon it during your opponent's turn by tributing one of your monsters, I think during the battle phase or something like that. But tribute your monster and you special summon him face up, and you can make it so that one of your opponent's monsters can attack. And he also has a quick effect where you can tribute him and negate the activation of a card on the field. So he's actually a pretty good card to have out because pretty much becomes a stopgate. The Mechlord Astro cards, I'm gonna talk about Mechlord Astro Mechanile. This card, you can summon them from your hand by tributing 3 monsters from your hand. So you don't have to have him on the field, and he has 4,000 attack. And he gets the same equip effect for his synchro monsters, I believe. I never actually get to use this card too much because I'm usually relying on Astral Dragon Triskelion for his effect. But yeah, I actually use him for a different purpose. But yeah, he gets the equip effect for the synchro monsters, and yeah, you could send one of the equipped cards to him and inflict damage to your opponent equal to the attack. So, good way to cause some burn damage with a monster. Now, my favorite card of this deck, Meklord Astral Dragon Triskelion. To summon this card, you gotta banish 3 of your Mechlord monsters from the graveyard. But the cool thing about this card is, when he attacks, you can equip one monster from your opponent's extra deck to this card. And if you equip a synchro monster, he can attack up to 3 times. And he also gains the attack of the equipped card. So it doesn't matter what type of card you take from your opponent. You can take a monster, strongest monster, or just a good crutch card for them to use that would screw you over later in a duel and just render that card useless and gain a bunch of attack and be able to do massive damage. So good way to get rid of your opponent's extra deck and boost your monster and screw over your opponent. Now, the random miscellaneous cards I got in this deck is like Droll and Lockbird, what is it, Ghost Bell Witch, and Ash Blossom. I also have a Chaos Dragon Levineer, but really don't get to use him too much, so might side deck him or do something else with him. Now, that's it for the monsters. Kind of. Gonna talk about the combos, pull off with these cards a little later, but put these aside for now. And we're gonna talk about the magic cards that I have. Magic and trap cards. Gonna talk about the Mechlord magic and trap cards first. So, for magic and trap cards for the Mechlord monsters, have Fortissimo the Mobile Fortress. And what this field card does is it lets you special summon a Mechlord monster And you also get your normal summon, so you're able to do 2 summons in 1 turn. So you boost your field and, you know, build up your board. Next card is Mechlord Assembly, and I have 3 of these in here. I have 3 of these in here because when you play this card, you get to add a Meklord monster to your hand. But it also has added effect of if you discard a card, you can destroy a monster and destroy a face-up spell or trap card on the field if you use the discard effect. So you can use this card to destroy your Meklord cards like Meckeler Core, you know, get you Mecklord Emperor out and destroy one of your opponent's cards. Next card I have is Mickeler Deflection, and I have 3 of these in here. What this card does is it gives your opponent, it gives your Mechlord monster a permanent attack boost for every Mechlord monster you control. That's not the only cool thing about this card. When this card is in your graveyard, if one of your cards, or if a card or cards Mechlord monsters you control are going to be destroyed, you can banish this card to prevent that destruction of your monster. Man, Chaos Infinity, trap card. I only have 1 of these in here, but I might put another one in here. What this card does is it switches off defense monsters to attack mode. So no matter the monster, it'll switch that monster to attack mode. So good card to have. Then Meklord Astro the Eradicator. Got 3 of these. This card does is it lets you add 3 Mechlord monsters, either special summon them to your field or add them to your hand. So you just think what you can do with that. And you can also banish it if you control a Mechlord Astro monster and you do burn damage to your opponent equal to the attack of a Synchro monster. I think. No, hold on. Yeah, destroy a Synchro monster and do burn damage for its attack. So this card's good because you get to add monsters back to your hand or special summon to the field. And then Mech Time Blast. This card does is target a monster you control, Mechlord monster, destroy it, and you can destroy 1 card your opponent controls. I have 2 of these in the deck. Random spell and traps that I have in this deck. Level Lifter. There's a reason for that. 2 Bottomless Trap Holes. Of course, I think most of y'all know what that does. It gets to banish a monster. Solomon Judgment. Got the gold version of that. Bottomless Shifting Sands. Good card to have. Just randomly threw it in there, but actually works pretty well with this deck. You got, what's this? Dimensional Barrier. Stop your opponent from summoning from the extra deck. Always nice. Hey True Nade. Just, you know, way to clear the field. Get rid of your opponent's card. Spiritual Entanglement. Target face-up monster your opponent controls and banish it to the end phase. So, clear a monster off the field that you need to get rid of. Drowning Mirror Force. Shuffle all the attack position monster back into the deck. Again, good way to clear the field. Begone Knave. This card is helpful, but it can also screw you over because if you attack, then you have to send your monster back to your hand. But it also works if your opponent has a strong monster and you need to, get it off the field. Night Beam. This card has come in clutch so many times because it pretty much makes you destroy face down spell or trap card and your opponent can't activate that card. So you get to destroy their card and prevent them from activating it. If it's something crucial for them, they can't do nothing about it. Bye-bye damage. Take damage. Monster can't be destroyed. But your opponent takes double the battle damage as effect damage. Storming Mirror Force. They return all attack position monsters to your opponent's hand. Call to the grave. target one monster your opponent's graveyard, banish it, and if you do, to the end of the next turn, its effects are negated as well as activated effects on the field. Then we got good old Infinite Impertinence. Good hand trap if you start off the duel. So you get to negate effects until the end of this turn of a face-up monster. Or if it's on the field, you get to also, what is it? Yeah, they can activate spell or traps in the column for that turn. But now, actually before I go over combos real quick, I'm gonna go over what I got in the extra deck. For the extra deck, I got Appaloosa, Goddess of the Bow. It's actually really easy to get out with this deck because you got a lot of search options, you got a lot of ways to summon and build up your board to get monsters for her. So she's actually pretty easy to get out with this deck. Dark Rebellion XYZ Dragon. Just needed a level 4 XYZ monster. No, he's a good addition to have in there. Burrow Sword Dragon. Another Link 4 monster. Don't actually really use him too much. He has not really made an appearance. Got Zeus. Zeus is actually a beautiful card for this deck, especially if you're running XYZ monsters in there. Because, yeah, Zeus is literally a boss. Sky Palace, Galapagos? No. It's a Gangadria. I'll probably just butcher that. But makes it so you can destroy a target on the field and inflict 1,000 damage. And say he's a rank 10. So that's what Level Lifter is for. To get out like this card, the number 77, 7 Sins, number XX Utopic Dark Infinity, and Super Dimensional Robot Galaxy Destroyer. That's what Level Lifter is for, to get out these cards a lot easier on the board. Because Triskelion is level 10 and Mechnile is a level 12 monster, so it makes getting these cards out. Especially for like, get out one of your level 10s, you can get out number 77 by using your rank 10 monsters. But I'm not going to go too deep into the details of the extra deck for you guys. Actually, I'm about to go over these combos. So, good opening hand. Just randomly say you have Mechlord Emperor Prograno or Mechlord Emperor Weisel in your hand. Usually Grano is a good choice, but you always hopefully have either Obligato or an Infinity Core. If you have an Infinity Core, usually you want to go for Meklord Assembly, or if you have Meklord Assembly, you can play that, grab an Infinity Core, summon your Infinity Core and grab another Mechlord Spell Trap card, maybe Mechlord for Mobile Fortress, so that gives you another summon. You do that, you can summon, if you have Obligato in your hand, or if you got him from Mechlord Assembly, summon Obligato, use his effect. Since a Mechlord monster is destroyed, since he's destroying himself with his effect, you'd be able to special summon Grano and got you a 4,000 attack monster out on the field. And if you use Mechlord Assembly to destroy the Mechlord Infinity Core, you'd be able to special summon, say, Weisel through, if I can find him, summon Weisel through Infinity Core because Grano's an Earth monster and Weisel's a Dark monster. And you'd also get to summon your 2 Mechlord army cards. So say you go with Mechlord Army Weisel and Skill, and you literally just got you a 4 monster board off of your first turn. Yeah, so let me actually play this in the correct spots so you can actually see it. I'm talking about a little bit. So, play your Meklord assembly. You add, you say we have Abogado in our hand already. Just use an opening hand. We'll add Infinity Core through Meklord Assembly's effect. Add that to the hand. And then we'll summon him. And we'll add Meklord Fortress. Using with a mobile fortress. Field spell. Now let us summon Abogado. We'll have Grano in our hand, just say use open in hand. Use Abogado's effect to tribute and destroy him. And since he is destroyed, you'd be able to special summon Grano. Because that's the point of the Mechlord Emperors. They can't summon themselves, but they can be special summoned if, you know, one of your Mechlord cards are destroyed by a card effect. So special summon Grano, and then because you did that, you get to add your 2 Mechlord army cards from your deck to the field. And literally 4 board monsters. I could easily summon Appaloosa off of this board, or I could destroy Meklord Infinity Core and summon, what is it, Mecklord Emperor Weisel through Meklord Assembly's effect. So I discard a card. Let's say I have a Mickeler Deflection in my hand, and that'll be the card I discard. That way that sets me up so if my opponent tries to destroy one of my monsters later on, I actually have protection. And I also got a Magic Jammer, a 4,000 attack monster, a monster that lets me search out another monster, and a monster that lets me do piercing damage to my opponent. Or if I would have discarded a monster and say I had Meklord, Astral Dragon, Triskelion, I would have been able to get him out on the field in the beginning of the duel. Or if you have 3 Meklord monsters in your hand, you could just straight up summon Meklord Astral Mecano. And again, have another 4,000 attack monster on the field that your opponent has to figure out something to do with. Like I said, that is really the cool thing about this deck. There's so many search options and so many different ways that you can get stuff out to build up your board and have plenty of ways to counter your opponent just with the Mechlord cards alone, not even with the other random stuff that I got thrown in here. Another cool thing about this deck is it's really cheap, because people really do not, I guess, care for Mechlords, but I've actually had a lot of fun playing this deck, and it actually is a pretty mean deck. It can take on Machina, Prank Kids. There's really not too much it can't handle. So you got someone who uses Mystic Minds. Mechlord Assembly will let you get rid of Mystic Mind easily. That's what I said. This deck has actually become one of my favorite decks. But I'm not going to ramble on for too much longer because, yeah. If you seriously want to build this deck, I'd suggest doing it. Like I said, the cards are super cheap. And once you figure out how to play this deck, it's actually a lot of fun. So, that's the end of this video. If you guys haven't already done so, go check out Brandon's video. He did a Prank Kid deck profile And I think he did a combo video too. I don't know if we got that all uploaded or not. But check that out. You know, support the channel for us. Like, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you know when we do new videos. But catch you guys later. I got something sweet coming for you guys. Peace.